would say it. Shannon, what is going on here?
This is a classic Jerry. This is Jerry being about Jerry. Skip, I'm a firm believer that Jerry is about show and box office, and he'd rather have a high-flying offense, kind of like the 2007 Patriots or like what the Broncos put on the field, even Kansas City, as opposed to a championship. He knows he doesn't need Kyle Pitts. He knows he needs defensive guys. He's had an outstanding offense. It's not his problem, but it's his inability to stop the other team has been his problem. But he doesn't want that, Skip. Jerry Jones would love to be involved in ball games like they saw last year, Skip. It come down to the wire, box office. They're down 15, they're down 20 points, and that brings them back. And even if they lose, boy, that was an exciting football, wasn't it? I like what we made of. That's what Jerry is, Skip. You think Jerry Jones is the only team, the Cowboys are the only team that's talked to Kyle Pitts? Most of the other teams, they just didn't put a video together and release it so everybody can see it. Normally what happens, the head coach would speak to him, the general manager, vice president of operations, VP, he would speak to him, and that's it. But this is about Jerry, because Jerry does everything. Jerry's the coach, Jerry's the general manager, Jerry's the VP, so this is what Jerry does. Unfortunately, he's not going to be there at 10. Kyle Pitts is not going to be there at 10. And even if he was, you don't need him. You need defense, Jerry. If Micah Parsons is there, if Pat Surtain II is there, that's what you need. But, hey, Jerry knows, he forgets just how good the defenses were. Skip, I think because you had the triplets. You had the big names. You had Troy. You had Emmett. You had Michael. Skip, you had the headliners on that side of the ball. But you covering them knew how great those defenses were. Those 3 Super Bowl teams, none was outside the top 5 in points allowed.
They had Charles Haley.
They had Charles Haley.
Yeah.
They had Skip. They were loaded deep. Like they had a rotation. They go Leon Lett and they go Tony Tolbert.
He was very good.
Yes,
yep, I agree.
Russell Maryland. They were loaded on the defensive line, and those young linebackers. But Jared's like, but all everybody really talked about, Skip, was the triplets: Michael, Troy, and Emmett.
Yep.
And that's what Jerry wants. Jerry wants box office.
Unfortunately, I can't disagree with much of what you said. Jerry Jones just wears me out as a Cowboy fanatic because he makes it so difficult on his team to succeed because his ego is more important than W's or L's. It's all about Jerry. He is the face of the franchise.
Yes.
He is the voice of the franchise. And you can't tell me that he didn't sanction this.
Of course he did.
This was his order.
Yeah.
We're going to release video of what was supposed to be a private,
Right.
you know, it was obviously a Zoom type conference
Right.
because of what we're in
Yeah, you
right
can't
now.
you can't release somebody's conversation without doing.
No, and I don't know if they got Kyle Pitts to sign off on it. It wasn't controversial what he
Right.
said, but it's Jerry all but welcoming him to the fold.
Right.
Do you realize what we could do here? And Jerry goes all the way to sugar plums, and it's from "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," as you, if you might remember. The children were nestled all snug in their beds while visions of sugar plums, which is hard candy, danced in their heads. So Jerry's going "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" to Kyle Pitts like we could have Christmas morning if we land you in the draft.
Right.
Well, he's already shown his hand on this because he's already said publicly. No, I'm sorry. Chris Mortensen, I think, reported that Jerry was enamored of Kyle Pitts. So I first guessed this a long time ago. It might have been 2 months ago. I told you sitting right here that Kyle Pitts will be better at his position than any of these 5 top quarterbacks will end up being at their position.
Yes.
They're more valuable because they're quarterbacks.
Yeah,
but
well, you also said that if Kyle Pitts is there, Jerry should take him too.
I did, and I still believe that. But if you have any hope of Kyle Pitts falling, which he will not do, he's not going to fall. But if you have any hope of him falling to 10, why would you continue to telegraph your love for Kyle Pitts? Because you don't want to send messages that the Cowboys are just sitting on Kyle Pitts, because somebody will talk themselves into taking Kyle Pitts before you.
Right.
Could be your Broncos at 9.
Right.
They could finally just say, yeah, we need a quarterback and whoever's still there. It
Right.
could be Justin Fields. It could be Trey Lance. Might still be sitting there.
Right.
Hey, it could still be Mac Jones sitting there. And your Broncos are going to have to say, okay, do we want to plunge on one of these quarterbacks? But it's Kyle Pitts.
Right.
And Jerry's sitting right on. We can't let Kyle Pitts go to Jerry Jones,
Right.
and they might just take him.
Right.
So why would you do this? Why would you release this video? It's counterproductive.
Right.
To what you're doing in the draft, because you need to keep your cards close to your vest.
But it does with your ego, Skip.
It's
like,
all
look at
that
me. I'm
ego.
talking to Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
And tell him how good we could be if we were to have him in the fold. It's all about Jerry.
He's a great young man. He'd be a good son for me. I could have another son, right? This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. And then they let it would be okay to maybe cut the video at Jerry sort of welcoming him
Right.
or speculating on how great it could be. But they then let Kyle Pitts talk, and they let Kellen Moore continue to roll the video out, because it was about 2.5 minutes of video that they released publicly. And Kellen Moore asked Kyle Pitts, who was your toughest defender that you faced in college? And he went to J.C. Horn, the South Carolina corner.
Right.
And he said, well, we're good friends and we compete hard against each other. And I looked it up. They played October 3rd. It was at Florida. It was 38-24 Florida. And Kyle Pitts caught 4 for 57. Not one of his bigger games numbers-wise, but 2 went for touchdowns of 15 yards and 4 yards. Well, is Jerry trying to send a message? Is he trying to soften the blow because they've fallen in love with J.C. Horn at 10 instead of Patrick Surtain, who I'm all in on? Or Caleb Farley, maybe? Or is he trying to send a message to prepare Cowboy Nation for, we're going to take J.C. Horn at 10 instead of Patrick Surtain? And he got blessed by Kyle Pitts. So we send out the video. None of this helps your position in the draft, because you don't want anybody to know anything about what your final decision is, right?
Yeah, that's why teams don't release who they've talked to. A lot of times guys get drafted, Skip, and say, well, I really never even talked to this team. So I'm surprised that I went there, because I never had a conversation. They never, obviously they didn't have the combine this year, but when we had the combine, I didn't go in for a pre-draft, anything like that. So, but this is Jerry.
Okay, all right. So Nate Davis, USA Today's football writer, has a mock draft up right now. You can see it. I looked at it this morning. He's got Dallas trading up to number 4 to take Kyle Pitts. And I'm not all in on that. I would take him if he fell to 10, but you can't. You would have to pay.
You would give up next year.
That is correct.
22 and 23 first rounders.
You would have to pay a quarterback price for a kid
to go to top 5?
To go to 4 to Atlanta for a kid who does not play quarterback. As much as I love Kyle Pitts, he's going to touch the ball. I don't know, maybe you throw him 12 targets a game and catch 10 of them. Well, the quarterback's going to touch the ball, what,
65 times.
Right? Okay. So it's a quarterback's game. I say it all the time. You can't pay a quarterback's price to move up to take Kyle Pitts. That would be suicidal, because you cost your team forever.
Well, you can't throw Kyle Pitts 12 targets, Amari Cooper 12 targets.
No.
CD Lamb 8 targets, Michael Gallup 8 targets, and then you still got other tight ends. Blake Jarwin is coming back, Schultz is coming back. A couple of balls to Pollard out of the backfield. There's only so many passes in the course of a game that you could have, Skip.
Okay. So Mel Kiper has, he's got the trade of New England going up to 10 to take Justin Fields at 10. Is that right? That's Justin Fields. And Dallas going back to New England's spot at 15 to take J.C. Horn. So maybe there's something going on there.
Because they said that Miami is going to go from 6 to 4 to take Kyle Pitts. Going to trade with Atlanta. So, you know what, Skip? I'm ready for Thursday to come. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for Thursday to come. I'm tired of all the mocks. I just want to see.
In my lengthy career of studying drafts, I have never seen one where the mocks are so all over the map as this one. Especially when it comes to 5 quarterbacks who could go boom, 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 boom at the top, or they could go all over the map.
Most mocks, all the mocks that I've seen, Skip, quarterbacks are going to be off the board in the first 3. That's one thing that I think all of them have agreed on from what I've seen. Quarterbacks are going to be the first 3 picks.
The only mass agreement is on number 1.
1-1,
but not real. I guess Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Jack Wilson started to pick up some steam for the number 2 pick.
But number 3 is all over the map.
So I'm just ready for, the pick is in. I'm ready for them to say the pick is in so we can, and now, they can't, NFL has asked the insiders not to tweet who's going to be picked so it could be some suspense.
I'm just ready for the day that Jerry announces he's going to fade into the background and retire from being the full-time, everyday GM of the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I don't know, Skip. Wishful thinking. Okay, we're 6 days away from the draft. What will Jerry do? I cannot wait to see. But before we watch the draft, how about some racing this weekend? And the Fox Bet Super 6 app is giving you a chance to win Clint Boyer's brand new Camping World RV and $25,000 this Sunday during the Cup Series.